I hail from India, and I lived in Chandigarh, which is capital of Punjab state. And at age 17, I came to the United States. And since that time, I've been raising myself. At that time came with my ex-husband. We just got married in '67 and came right after. We were married so we could go to America to study. Things used to be different about immigration at that time, because it was 1967, and we had to take English exam called TOEFL. We had to be checked out by the embassy and interviewed by the person in the embassy, and we were asked to sign a paper that if we signed many papers, but we were told that if you become a public charge, then you will be deported back to India. Of course, that's not the way immigration works right now, but that's how it was. And only if I heard that only cream of the crop came to America from other countries, and you had to be good students or you had to be good scientists to come here to fulfill the need that some company or place had. So we both were sociology students and came to Mississippi State University. And my ex-husband did his PhD. I completed my master's, and I was 20 years old when I completed my master's in 1970. We moved to Commerce, Texas, because that's where he got the job. And then he decided I could not go to school anymore because he wanted us to have a child. So that's how our life started. And he said one PhD is enough in the family. I wasn't that strong-willed then. I was very naive, had been raised very protectively, and I hadn't been anywhere very much, other than with my parents just within the North India. I'm from Punjab state, is in very North India. And it wasn't anything unusual, because in India, women, especially, this is 52 years ago, you pretty much obeyed what your husband said. So it didn't cause any problem at that time for me. And that's how that we had a son who was a special needs child, and then things went downhill from after his birth. After I had my son, he was diagnosed with the brain damage during birth. And my ex-husband is from a different caste than I am. And his mother, he and his mother, they were very upset, and they could not accept a defective son, because in their caste, son is very important for the salvation. They perform their last rites and make stuff, and parents also live with the son, as opposed to with the daughter in America. Daughters are considered curse; they are curses. So he comes from a state of Haryana, where they have shortage of women because so many babies are aborted after doing ultrasound, that if they are female fetuses. So he came from the very different culture, and I come from Punjab state. And so his mother started saying that she only gives birth to mad children, and I will marry you to someone in our caste, and you'll have many sons. So he started filing divorces, and I would bring him back, and finally he took off to India. And in Texas there is a no-fault divorce, so divorce went through, and 2 months later or so, he brought a new wife, and they have 2 daughters. They did not get the son they were wanting, and so, but he has no hard contact with my son or with me, other than through some legal things, because he doesn't want to have anything to do, want to pay anything or share any expenses. And so that kind of changed my life drastically. So I needed a job, and I started looking for a job, and I was at that time in Mesquite. We moved from Commerce to Mesquite so Raj could go to special school there, Notre Dame Dallas Special School. And I couldn't get a job, any gainful employment. So I started to say, oh, this is going to be very hard. So my mother came to help me, and she wanted to take me back to India. And I refused because I thought my son had better future here in America as a special person. And I thought I was going to get him cured. So I refused to go. And so she said that, well, we are the only 2 children, my younger brother, 3 years younger brother, and myself. So she said, well, in that case, then I'll stay here and help you. So she resigned her very good job. She had a managerial job in India, resigned that, and she was only 46 years old at that time, and stayed and worked here in Garland, and put me through school. And so it was very hard at that time. So I used to drive 160 miles a day just to go to the university. And on August 14, 1981, I got my PhD. And on August 15, 1981, I moved to San Angelo, Texas. And I've never lived anywhere as long as I've lived in San Angelo, Texas. And my philosophy was that I'm not leaving until I have the degree at home. And I fulfilled the dream of my father. When I was leaving, India, his last words were, "Don't come back until you are an authority on your subject." He meant to get a PhD, terminal degree. And so I felt that I had fulfilled his wishes, and I also was going to be gainfully employed now. I am very blessed. I'm very thankful to America for that opportunity. So when you bring women, especially women like me, see, I was a little girl from India, had $25 in pocket when I came, one suitcase. And I have many suitcases now. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because if you're born and raised here, you have a lot more going for you than somebody who comes from another country and overcomes that, because language barrier, cultural barrier, and all that. So women, this is the time for women, and they should take a full advantage of this opportunity, but at the same time not go too extreme. We're very happy that we have the equality. We're given the equality, but we should not abuse it, because if you abuse things, then you can lose them. Yeah, and so we should not be opposite to men or in conflict with men, but we should be like walking shoulder to shoulder with them. And that's how I perceive these times right now. I always start my course with telling them that this is not a job for me, it's a calling, and I consider it educational ministry. And I my pursuit is to educate the whole person, not just teach them that little part of psychology, just whole person. And I do that, and I, of course, recognize that the fact that students move towards the personhood, knowledge, and expectations of a professor, and that places a very heavy responsibility on the teachers, professors, to be to be the very best models of fully functioning human beings. And so I try to model my behaviors that I want them to emulate. But one thing I stress in all my courses is, I've been doing that for about 5 years, is student personal responsibility. One thing I need to mention, I became born again Christian in 2006, on February 11, 2006. Nobody was forcing me, converting me. It happened in 15 minutes because I was very ill, and two friends wanted to pray over the phone, and I had an amazing experience, and my life changed 180 degrees. So one thing, since then, my mantra is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I just say that. Anytime I'm doing anything, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So that's my way of doing it. But I would tell others that whatever you do, give your very best to it. Whatever you say, whatever you do, if you give your very best, you will be successful.